Welcome back, and joining me now, and I'm so glad he's back, is friend and radio legend Ray Hadley. Ray.
Shari, I've missed you so much.
I missed you too.
The people who replaced you were charming and lovely, but I love being here with you on either a Monday or Tuesday night, as the case may be.
The Harbour Bridge protest shut down the city. I missed you on the airwaves over it. I have to say, it is so upsetting to see the terrorist flags on the bridge, and the Prime Minister ignores this. And Chris Kenny reported last night on his show, do you remember that Sheikh Dadoon who said he was elated on October 8?
Yeah.
He was on the bridge as well on Sunday.
With plenty of others. Let's trace back to how it happened. The New South Wales government opposed it. The New South Wales police opposed it. One Supreme Court Justice, Belinda Riggs, said it was okay. It's not a precedent because any other Supreme Court Justice may have come up with an entirely different decision. But what worries me is that on the night or the afternoon, Friday, she considered it, she reserved a decision. Now, it wasn't that complicated. I don't know what she did overnight, whether she had a sleepless night or whether she asked other people. I've got no idea. She's a very, very highly regarded former public defender who's been elevated to the Supreme Court. But I just don't know why she would require that period to make a decision which, in the end, she found rather easy to make. And that's a real concern, because I agree with things that have been said since by former Prime Ministers, that it should be a decision of executive government to protect our assets. It's really important. Now, something else just arrived. A senior member of the New South Wales Labor government, knowing I was coming on, sent me a text. We're in real trouble with the courts, they said, reference to the Supreme Court, I'd imagine, but the Church Synagogue Exclusion Bill, the prohibition on protests outside places of worship, which was introduced by the Chris Minns government after the protest outside a synagogue, is about to go south. I said, what? It passed through both houses of New South Wales Parliament, but it's before the High Court now. And they say, the High Court, they're thinking it infringes on the right of political communication. So, I mean, you've got an executive government making a decision through Chris Minns to protect not just synagogues, but all other forms of places of worship, be it, you know, a church, be it somewhere where Muslim people would gather, to protect them as well. And there's a possibility, according to the government, that the High Court's going to knock it base over apex.
That is insane, and that is deeply worrying. Now, just to explain to everyone at home where this started, and one night I was sitting here on air and I started getting text messages from friends of mine who were at a function at the Great Synagogue in the heart of Sydney, in the city, and they were locked down. They were locked in because there were all of these aggressive pro-Palestinian protesters outside. They couldn't get out. They were locked in the synagogue. So Chris Minns, who's up there with, you know, among the best New South Wales premiers, he said, well, the protesters shouldn't be able to protest outside any place of worship, as you said, not just the synagogue, any place of worship. And now the intel that you're getting tonight, Ray Hadley, is that the High Court might throw this law out, even though it was supported by the lower house and the upper house. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm getting from the Minns government, from a very senior minister who I won't identify, but they're fearful that the High Court is on the cusp of knocking over this legislation, which would be catastrophic, not just for Jewish people, for all people. You should be able to worship in peace.
This is about public safety, that something is going to go wrong here because these magistrates are making bad decisions. Someone is going to lose their life. Yeah,
well, it's a miracle there weren't injuries in what happened the other day. But I also heard your comments earlier on your program about the ISIS flags, the terror flags, and, you know, we've got New South Wales Police playing catch-up, which they've been playing catch-up since day one. From the first time they lined the streets of Sydney, you know, and at that stage, Israel had not responded to the murder of 1,200 people, the rape of those people, the capture of 251 hostages. Israel hadn't responded. And the New South Wales government allowed the police to stand idly by and let people take over our streets in much the same way, legally this time, they took over the streets of the Sydney area and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It's just catastrophic.
I agree. It's been disappointing, but I also just want to acknowledge that, you know, they have been working hard, the police, and in this particular protest on Sunday, they were given barely any notice. And then 1,000 of them had to turn up. Probably some of them aren't trained in which flag is a terror flag. I'm just being a little bit understanding. But I share your frustration.
Well, their frustration
100%.
would be Justice Rigg made the decision Saturday morning for a Sunday protest, which didn't give them much time to play catch-up at all.
Exactly. Now, let's have a look at this issue of the baby bonus. Now, John Howard has said that perhaps the Albanese government should consider reintroducing the baby bonus that his old treasurer, Peter Costello, did. Now, the situation we've got now is the Albanese government, it keeps saying it's lowering immigration, and yet it's not. News today, a higher student intake despite the housing crisis.
What about that 295,000 up from 270,000 when they were going to restrict it?
Yeah.
They said before the election we're going to restrict the number of students coming to the country, so they bumped it up by 25,000.
Broken promise, another broken promise.
Oh, shock horror.
But the birth rate, the fertility rate is declining.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, what did Peter Costello say? One for mum, one for dad and one for me. Look, self-interest takes over here. I missed out. I missed out I missed out again. I'm out to pasture in regard to that. Maybe it'll help my children, I don't know, although they may have been out to pasture as well. I've got three and one on the way. So
well, congratulations
on
the one on the way.
Yeah, little Sarah is having one in October to go with little Tommy. But look, I can see no fault with it. It seemed to work okay last time. And if they're going to throw money around, why not encourage people to have some children, you know, to keep the population growing without having to import people.
I seem to recall from last time there were a lot of plasma televisions that were bought as well.
Well,
with money.
There's a reason for that, Shari. You know, occupying minds and things like that.
You've got to watch TV when you're breastfeeding. Very important.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But of course, there's things that precede breastfeeding. So anyway, yeah. Look, I don't think it's a bad idea in all seriousness.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. And the immigration, are you worried about that? The fact that they're pushing that up and
well, I'm just worried about the lies they tell. I mean, there's a front page story today about green hydrogen in Queensland, and that's all come asunder. And there's lie after lie after lie propagated by this government, and in that case by Casanova Bowen. But it just seems to me that this is another lie. They went to the electorate saying, look, there are too many students coming here internationally. The university's put on a blue and said, that's our income stream. Don't dare take that off us. So what do we get today? 270,000 last year, 295,000, and what? We cracked the 350,000 mark in 3 years while they're still in government. I mean, it doesn't seem to make too much sense to me.
But the green hydrogen thing, that issue was front page of the Australian today, you know, with the story about how a lot of the politicians were sucked in by Twiggy Forrest's fantasy.
Yeah. And they've still got a water line coming from some remote part of Queensland to another part of Queensland, which is it's going to bring plenty of water, but not for what they wanted it for.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the Stephen Miles, as Deputy Premier, and later, lamentably, the Premier, said this is one of the great things for Queensland. Gladstone is going to prosper on the back of this. Well, Gladstone's been left with a, you know, sandshoe and a galosha in terms of how many jobs it brought, but it was on the front page of the Australian, and well done to the Australian for identifying it.
But also you just think of all the taxpayer money wasted in subsidies, trying to make something work that was never going to.
Shari, it was only 60 million. I mean, it was going to be over $1 billion, but it was only 60 million. It's a drop in the bucket for the Queensland opposition.
No, but I mean the green hydrogen scheme.
Oh, the whole scheme itself,
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's pie in the sky stuff. Like many of the things we talk about on a regular basis here. I saw a clip this morning of Barnaby Joyce talking about renewables. He said the last thing they are renewable. The carbon that they, you know, have to manufacture these, let's go with wind farms, with these structures, and then when they've lived their life, they're going to be buried somewhere. How's that a renewable? I mean, it's a misnomer.
It's extraordinary that the Albanese government was re-elected with such a landslide. I mean, it comes down to the opposition. Peter Dutton was a good bloke, but who both of us rated extremely highly.
Yeah,
but
I think
clearly he
failed. Still a good bloke.
Yeah, failed to connect with Australians. Yeah. Plus, there was a campaign issue. But Susan Lee has no chance, Ray. What do you think about her?
Well, I've said to you a number of times, she wouldn't lead the Liberal Party or the coalition into the next election, I wouldn't think. She's been singularly unimpressive as the opposition leader. And I mean, she's doing her best, but I'm afraid in Susan's case, her best will not be good enough. And we're facing another period of time with Anthony Albanese or his successor in government, unfortunately, on the early stages of what happened after the May election. And like we've said before, I don't know who will lead them to victory next, But it might not be someone in Parliament or someone very, very prominent in Parliament at the moment from the Liberal Party.
Yeah, could be perhaps even Josh Frydenberg. We can hope.
Oh, come back, Josh. We love Josh. He's a good man.
Indeed. All right, Ray Hadley, great to see you again. Thank you.
Good to see you, Shari. All the best.